because obviously one of the biggest topics that has been of discussion this past week is the promo by Seth Rollins versus CM Punk on Raw. It's a 15-minute segment. Apparently there was no producer, allegedly, there was no producer listed for the segment, which means it was really just Seth and Punk. And Seth had a lot to say. But I'm not gonna get into what he was saying. I would recommend people would to just look it up and watch for yourself and see what he said. But I wanted to get your opinions on this promo and opinions on this dynamic and what we got going on.
Oh, I liked it. You know what? I was like looking at everything when I rewatched the video on YouTube, and like Punk came out and he didn't like look like he was excited to be there. And for a moment, I'm like, like like why is he walking in there like that? Like he don't know what he's getting himself into. Like he don't know if it's a setup. I don't know. He was just fist bumping and high fiving the fans, and it just looked like he was a little bit dead and focused on like what he's about to anticipate. And I felt like that first promo he had was a little bit scripted, and it wasn't scripted till after he responded back to Seth's. So that being said, when I was listening to Seth, it almost felt like Seth was like spewing every intrusive thought that at least a person like me would have towards Seth. And I was like, ooh, like he's getting his ass, like reminding him, like, yo, don't you ever call this your home. When I've been carrying this company on my back, along with Roman, along with Drew, along with like whatever, so on and so forth, don't you dare
Mhm.
call this company your home on my watch, knowing damn well I could pull up tapes and promos from like less than 6 months ago of you dragging this company
Mhm.
every single week. They used to give on AEW, they used to give this man like 30 minutes. Like
For
30
sure.
minutes of screen time to just go up there and just talk shit, like slandering this company back and forth, name dropping back and forth, references back and forth. I really felt like Seth meant that. And if he didn't mean that,
Mhm.
then his acting is impeccable, because what? What? Every time he says something, I was like, yo, I felt that too. I felt that
Mhm.
too. No, like, and I understand where he's coming from, because one thing about Seth, and we said it on the show before, Seth is like a company guy. Like he goes on, he does what he has to do. You don't hear any articles about him complaining with the bag. He takes whatever embarrassing storyline he has to do and just does it. He gets the job done. He's very reliable. So I could understand what it feels like for him, but not only him, but people in the back that are clawing for like some screen time on Raw,
Mhm.
and they're hoping that, oh, maybe I'm next with Seth, maybe I'm next with Roman, maybe I'm next with this person. And it's just like this motherfucker was just on screen talking shit like 6 months ago, and now he's here and he's acting like, oh, this is my home. This is my home. And it's like, God dang it, I'm not gonna get any screen time at this point. So I feel like Seth was speaking not only for him, for the company, but even like the smaller people in the back when he was dragging Punk. But I love it. I love it because like this is a type of feud where both parties win in WWE. If you don't like Punk, and I'm like here or there with Punk, I'm happy that he's here because that's money, that's business, it's gonna create amazing feuds and stuff like that. But it's just that when it comes to Punk, I think he's a sleazeball. I think he's a bunch of things underneath the sun. So a person like me gonna side with Seth and resonate with everything that he has to say. But if you're like a true Punk fan and you couldn't wait for him to come back, then you get to win with Punk going over. If he does, we don't know. One could go over, one could go over, or they could just end it in a draw and drag this thing out, because this company loves doing that.
Mhm.
But I thought the promo was fantastic. It felt realistic, and I can't quite like remember the time when I watched a promo in like the last couple years. I don't know on WWE screen television when's the last time I watched a promo and I'm like, did he really mean that, bro? Because like the tension is there. It is there. And the idea that I don't know if it's real or not makes me even more excited and invested as a fan. So if there's no producer, great job. Great job, gentlemen. 'Cause that came out perfect. And the length of it, perfect. I love this feud. And I kind of wish this was something that could drag out to Mania, But we in December right now. I don't know if WWE knows how to book that and keep my attention span. But what do you think about it, Jordan?
I have so many points to make and so
Yeah,
little time. So I'm
go
going to
for it.
start with this. Number one, this is what separates WWE from AEW. Because when I'm looking at this promo, I was like, this could have been Punk versus Omega. This could have
Mhm.
been Punk and FTR versus the Elite. This could have been another Punk versus Heyman. But nah, Cats was so in they bag and in they feelings that they didn't want to make money. So what happens? If Punk isn't liked in WWE, we're not going to put you in a position where it's like, you know what? Yeah, you're not going to work with this person. We're not going to work with this person. No, we're going to agree. We're going to have respect for each other, right? But at the same time, we're going to understand that there's money to be made here. So here's the line. Don't cross that line, but say what you got to say, put what you got to put out. Because at the end of the day, it's not about my feelings. It's not about your feelings. It's about the fans. It's about what they want to see, and it's about making money. And that's the difference between WWE and AEW, because the moment that Punk got on the wrong person's side, he's suspended and he's fired, and it's great for vibes, but you just missed out on the bag. And speaking of bags, I'm gonna get back to that at the end of this
All
rant.
friends
Number
wrestling.
number two, Number two, Seth Rollins is the best wrestler in the world. And this is something that I've said for a very long time. It sucks that it took this for people to see that. He's been on a different level on the mic for a long time. He's been on a different level in the ring for a long time. And a lot of that time, so many people were focused on Punk that Seth probably felt slept on and ignored. And so we see a lot of that fire coming out now. And number three, the one thing that I was paying attention to, like you were, was Punk's body language. And Punk's body language, Punk, Punk and how he was reacting to Seth. And I think he was doing this for a couple reasons. Number one, Punk was showing, all right, I could behave. All this stuff about me popping off on people and woo 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 woo. I'm gonna show him a different side, right? Because all this happened out in the ring. We didn't hear Punk any backstage reports about Punk making comments about the promo. It's business as usual. All right, he said
Mhm.
what he said.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I saw that was very interesting, Seth did his promo, da 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 da, and then Punk said, "Are you done? Are you done?" And what that told me was, you better hope I act up between now and Mania. Because if I circle back to you, I'm violating you. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna make peace backstage. I'm gonna go to NXT and deal with the kids. I'm not gonna say anything bad. I'm not gonna call people children.
Yeah, that's what
But
he
you
doing.
better not hope that I'm here when it comes by March or April. You better hope I punch somebody backstage. Because
Yo.
if I'm here in March, if they want me to be a WrestleMania main event, I want you to have your bases covered, because I'm gonna violate you. That's the vibe that I got from Punk. That's the vibe I got from Punk.
Yeah.
I and that's the reason why I was like, I saw Seth and I saw what he said, and I was like, you're right, and this resonates. But I need you to be careful, bro, because this is not you and Cody. This is you and Punk. This is the same person that went to AEW and went at MJF for 20 minutes and won. Relax. Relax. but I do want to also say that, like, a lot of the stuff that Seth was talking about with Punk, it was very, very similar with what he did with Cody. I mean, when they after that Mania match and they were building towards, like, or kind of like building their feud, it was like, listen, you left this place 6 years ago because you weren't cutting it, and then you tried to go over there and you wasn't cutting it over there, so you came back over here. There was
Broke
a lot
bitch.
of stuff that there was a lot of stuff that he said during that promo that, once again, that resonated. But I feel like Seth knows when it's money time. He knows when it's time to when it's time to make magic and when it's time to make money. And I think that that's the thing that's going to separate him from everybody else in his class. But I know that they're going to tie this in. Because we're saying, I don't know what they're going to do between now and Mania, and Mania's in April, bro. The Royal Rumble is next month. this is not that far away. It's not that far away. And I feel like Punk is also just like using this time to make his rounds. Like, oh, I mean, I could tell you, I mean, like I could ask you while we're kind of in this context, like we saw